Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. We're producing this episode for GoodCrowd.info, and our guest today is the wonderful and remarkable AdaPia from Patch of Land. She's the Chief Marketing Officer, and I would note that Patch of Land is one of our new sponsors. AdaPia, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for your sponsorship.
Hi, Devin. It's great to be back. It's been a while, and I'm always happy to sponsor you, your show, and the incredible work that you're doing. Very timely work. It's gaining momentum. I love this.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a real privilege to have you. AdaPia, I think that as you have watched Patch of Land mature over the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen the role that it plays in enhancing and rebuilding communities. Would you just frame that discussion for us a little bit?
Sure. It's been remarkable actually to see the way that we can impact these communities, and it's indirect. So we don't go in of reading that were blighted, especially after the crash. What we do is we provide financing to the people on the ground in those local communities that do it. So we're enabling and we're facilitating many times small businesses, small business owners in the real estate profession to do this. So and with the marketplace model that we have, really, we're like a conduit for other investors that are providing the funding for our platform that funnels through to these professionals. So it's like this, it's like an online community effort to make this happen. And you wouldn't think that right off the bat, because this is a financial technology company and it's real estate financing, and you generally don't associate that with a lot of good nowadays. But I think we're here to change that.
Well, AdaPia, it really is an interesting role, but why don't you take us back a little bit and let's remind people about Patch of Land and how the model works.
Sure. So Patch of Land is one of the first real estate crowdfunding companies that first emerged about 2.5 years ago after the Historic Jobs Act and the SEC passed certain laws into effect, which essentially allowed companies to generally solicit investments. And so a lot of entrepreneurs took advantage of this and launched these companies called crowdfunding platforms, and ours was launched in the real estate space. And we've always focused on real estate lending. There are a lot of opportunities in real estate, a lot of equity. You'll hear people talking about funding large commercial buildings, but we were always really focused on funding the small business, the real estate professional that was really focused on neighborhoods and single-family residences or multifamily residences, and making property improvements and bringing up neighborhood values, livable communities, and just taking advantage of economic growth to, for them to make money. They make money. This is their business, but nobody else is coming in and doing this, and there's a great opportunity to provide that funding. So that's essentially what we do. We're a lender, and we get our money from investors online, and that's the crowdfunding component of what we do. So we're a marketplace, we're a financial technology company, we're underwriting real estate loans and lending to these people who need the funding, because essentially they can't get it from banks. They never could, and so we came in to fill a gap.
So what's a specific example of a project that might be on the site today?
Wow, so we've done about 200 projects in the past 2 years, and let me think. We've lent across 28 states already. We've done a few projects in Chicago. So, for example, in certain communities in Chicago was one of the hardest hit cities in the country. So somebody will be able to go in and buy a home that was maybe foreclosed or short sale, like nobody's living in it, and it's been abandoned, and you pretty much can't live in it, wouldn't want to. So they buy it as property. Nobody lives in it anymore. So the bank will sell it value because they're not going to do anything with the property. So you buy it, and this developer, we call them developers, professionals, they buy it, they have to put in money to rehab it, to do like a good remodel, and then they clean it up, they make it better, they fix it, and then they put it back on the market, sell to a homeowner. And so those are the kinds of projects that we're funding, because the banks aren't going to fix these properties. They're valuing it because they're actually just trying to get rid of the property because the loan is sitting on their balance sheets. They don't want there, but there are plenty of people who literally roll sleeves, they have their crews, they go out and do this, and they make their profit on the difference between what they paid for it and the rehab cost and what they're going to sell it for. And that's how they make their money. And they do this. Some of them do it a lot, and some people are just starting out, but there are a lot of opportunities for this. And you're seeing neighborhoods just be revitalized because you can live in them again. Properties are beautiful now.
So what kind of down payment are most of your developers making? And so what portion are they financing through patch of land?
So we always, and from an investor protection standpoint, we always ask for at least 20% of a down payment on the purchase price of the property. And we also only work with experienced professionals and developers because there's so much that goes into it. I'm remodeling my own home right now, and I know how much goes into it and how many things you have to consider, and permits and costs and time, and on the East Coast, especially, or in the East, I'm in LA, weather, and how that can affect your timeline and all sorts of things. So we do ask for 20% down because in the event of a default, for whatever reason, the developer can't finish the project, things happen. These are high risk loans. These are not corporate bonds by any means. Patch of Land would step in and complete the project or sell it, and that's how we would recover funds for investors. But to date, we've never had to do that, and that's a wonderful thing to see. And we work really hard with our developers if they come up against like time constraints to give them extensions and allow them the time they need to finish the projects.
So what kind of interest rates are the borrowers paying, and what kind of returns are the investors earning?
Yeah, so they're high rates, and so depending on the state and the city, because of risk factors. Some states are judicial foreclosure and non-judicial foreclosure, which plays a large role. But for example, in California, like 8%. And what an investor sees is 7%. So patch of land takes a 1% servicing fee. And in other parts of the country, in riskier parts of the country, it can be upwards of 12 or 13%. But one of the things, we do two things to make it a better value for the borrower. One of them is that we have a no prepayment penalty. So we write a 12-month loan. And if the developer is done before that, they can pay it off, and they don't get charged a penalty. They don't get charged, well, you have to finish paying months. Like, it's free and clear. You pay it back, you move on to the next thing we do. The other thing we do is we pre-fund the loan. Because in the context of crowdfunding, for those familiar with especially Kickstarter, if you don't get the total sum you're asking for, you don't get your funding at all. So we don't do that. What we do is patch of land from our own funding, from our own balance sheet. We give the developer the money, and then we syndicate the loan out to the investor. So that means that the developer can go out and purchase the property right away, because time is a big issue. There's people bidding on these properties, and timeliness is an issue. So they're able to do that right away and get started right away, which is a benefit. They don't have to wait. I mean, sometimes weeks for a big loan to get funded could take weeks. A lot of ours they sell out in about an hour or two now, which is great to see. And so those are two things that we do to add value to the borrower.
So from application to close, how long does it usually take for a borrower to get the money?
So we can close in 7 to 10 business days, and our record is 4,
Wow.
which is remarkable. Yeah.
That's fast. That's
yeah.
fast. So, AdaPia, I want to just kind of step back a little bit and talk to you personally about some of your experiences and feelings about this. But as you become successful, as Patch of Land has really become a leader in this space, you become a leader and a role model. But who do you look up to for inspiration?
I find inspiration everywhere. I really do. I've been really inspired lately, actually, by a group of ladies that run an organization called Junior Associates, and I'm part of the Leading Ladies group, and they have these wonderful events where they're mentoring high school and college aged women, girls that grow up in parts. I'm not quite sure. Really successful women, all kinds, and they organize events for them to mentor young girls. I've met some incredible women who run this organization, and they're so inspiring to me because I never had a role model like that, a real live role model. Not the ones that you might see on television or in government that you think I could never be that woman. And it's been a pleasure also mentoring those girls, because I wish I had that myself. And I'm so inspired by giving back to these young ladies and the other ladies that I'm meeting that inspire me as well.
Fantastic. Now, AdaPia, you've really developed a passion for seeing the sort of the social benefits, the impact of your Patch of Land program. What draws you to that?
Something inside my heart. I'm just so drawn to, I feel there's an energy that's changing in the world, and I think it's really being pushed towards working together towards a larger cause. A double bottom line approach of sorts, where you can be successful and you can make revenue and you can make profits in business, but you can also give back, and you should. I don't think that we should exist with corporate greed anymore. I really don't. I really think that we're too closely knit, has been so together, and you can't from yourself, from each other anymore. And so the more you can do, the more you have the ability to do. And I'm so fortunate in being able to expand my influence and to have a more positive influence, which feeds my soul, and it just keeps going. So somehow it starts in my heart, and it just ends with making an external commitment and an external change that benefits other people. And I hope that that's a chain effect.
Yeah. Now, one last question I want to ask you before you go. I know our time is running short, but I ask all our guests for an impact hack, some tip that we can use to do more good in the world. What's yours?
I think it's just acts of kindness. I think the impact of really being kind to people when you might not want to be, or when you run on automatic. A lot of us, we're attached to my phone's always over here, or it's somewhere, we're not looking and we're not paying attention anymore. And so I think that if you can make an impact on someone's day, even just through a smile or a kind gesture, a kind word, I think that has a huge impact. And I've been consciously doing more of that. And the reaction I get back is telling me that being kind on little things actually has the same kind of chain effect, and hopefully spreads more positive energy and inspires people to do the same.
That's fantastic. Great tip. Great tip. Well, AdaPia, before you go, tell people how they can connect with you personally, how they can learn more about Patch of Land.
Sure. So patch of land is, patchofland.com. I'm really my name AdaPia. That's my Twitter handle. If you put me in a Google bar, I come up, and I'm very social, always happy to connect with people, and I hope that people do. I'm really enjoying meeting more people who have similar thinking. I think there's a lot of people that are going in the same direction. So AdaPia, those are all my handles.
Fantastic. Well, AdaPia, it is great to have you back on the show. We'll look forward to having you back again soon. And we wish you every success in changing America's neighborhoods for good.
Thanks, Devin. I really appreciate it.
All righty. Let's do some good.